Welcome to the Cocktail Guru Podcast,
a show about food, drink, and entertainment,
with a tight focus on the good life,
and all things delicious, luxurious, and fun.
I'm Jonathan Pogash, bartender, author, and the host of Cocktails The Grand Tour.
And I'm Jeffrey Pogash, wine and spirits professional, author, insatiable collector of culinary ephemera, and so people tell me, an engaging raconteur.
And my dad.
It's fun and games around here.
Dad just said it's fun and games around here, which is definitely true because we play games and we have a lot of fun. Isn't that true, Dad?
It is true, John. We try to make this as lively and as much fun as possible. This is entertainment.
Dare I say edutainment?
Hey, I think you just coined something. This is edutainment. Yes, it is.
Copyright the Cocktail Guru 2022. I have a cocktail, Dad. I think you have a cocktail too. Is that correct?
Well, listen.
I can
it's
hear
right
it.
here.
It's very loud. It's actually quite loud in my ear.
The ice is clinking and the cherry is bobbing up and down right now.
He's got a bobbing cherry in his. It's a Manhattan. Do you have a Manhattan?
It's a Manhattan with Paul John Indian single malt whiskey.
Yeah.
It's actually the Nirvana bottling from Paul John, which is exquisite. It really is superb. It makes a delicious Manhattan.
I have the Paul John edited, and I have an old fashioned that I have a large cube in. So those of you who are watching on the YouTube can probably see my large cube. And it's very delicious. Shall we take a sip at the same time and cheers?
Absolutely.
Dad?
Cheers to our next guest. This is in her honor.
Oh, that's very nice. I get a little bit of smoke, in fact, from the Paul John. I love that.
That's exactly what I was saying before when we were off air. It actually reminds me a little bit of some smoke, a little bit of smokiness.
Yes,
but I'm definitely tasting barley in there. It's absolutely delicious.
It's delicious. Well, let's without further ado, let's bring on our guest, shall we, Dad?
Yes, John. And I really can't believe that for the second time in our podcast's short history, we're going to speak with a reality television star. Yay! I couldn't be more excited because this guest is multi-talented. And from what I can see, based on my research, she is multifaceted. And did I mention that I love reality TV?
Dad, dare I say you're a reality TV junkie?
Yes, I am.
And you are just, I mean, it's like nothing. That's all you talk about. It's a little on the annoying side. But Aparna Shewakramani, is it Shewakramani? It is.
Yes, Aparna Shewakramani.
I got it.
Shewakramani.
I know, thanks.
That's perfect, guys.
Aparna is a lawyer. She is an entrepreneur. She's the author of the book, She's Unlikable and Other Lies That Bring Women Down. Let us now welcome Aparna to our podcast. Welcome.
Welcome, Aparna.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Here.
And cheers.
Cheers.
So before we get going, we always ask our guests this one question, one very, very important yet simple yet complex question. What is your desert island cocktail? So if you're stranded on a desert island, what is the thing that you want to be drinking?
Well, let me say that it doesn't have to be a cocktail. It could be wine or it could be a non-alcoholic beverage as well.
It's still going to have to be a spicy margarita. Bring on the heat on the island.
Ooh.
So good.
Wonderful.
I might say that too, actually. I think that might be my one of my desert island cocktails.
Well, that's certainly one of mine, along with champagne.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
Isn't that good?
Well, Aparna, let's get right into it now, because what I loved about doing the research on your life is that your background is so diverse. You were born in London. You lived in Dubai as a child.
Dad researches all of our guests, which is amazing, and he knows your entire life story by now.
Well,
can you research all of my future dates? Thank you.
I could do that.
Hey, that's actually a good thing. Yeah, why not?
Just give me
that service everywhere.
Just give me a call.
Okay,
I will do it. But for around 25 years or so, give or take, you've been living in Houston, Texas, which is one of my favorite areas. have spent a lot of time in Houston, actually, during my work days. But in 2019, your life changed rather dramatically because you began taping Indian Matchmaking, a reality television show that is not without controversy.
Exactly.
The show was released on Netflix in 2020, I believe, and it was supposedly a docu-series.
What, Dad? Why do you say supposedly? Is it not a
Well,
docuseries?
Well, I think it depends on your definition of docuseries. I'm not sure. I don't think a docuseries is the same as a reality TV show. And I think Aparna has a lot to say about that because I've listened to other interviews that she has done. So she can clarify that for us.
I like the alleged in front of that. I'm a lawyer by trade, so I get it.
Yes. and your studies are incredible too, because you went to Rice University as an undergraduate, went to Vanderbilt University Law School in Nashville. I have never been to Nashville, but I've always wanted to go.
I'd like to go back a little bit before we go forward and talk through some of this. So, Aparna, growing up in Houston, what was it like growing up? Did you? We have a mutual friend in common, Pam, and Pam tells me that you're a foodie and you love cocktails also. Did you kind of grow up with parents who were, drinking cocktails, and did you have experience with that sort of thing?
My mom enjoys a good vodka soda, but I would not say she's a cocktail maker by any chance. And she's a single mom, so that was never really around the home. But I don't know. I just grew in my late teens and in my 20s. I was at Rice. Houston was emerging as a food spot around then and a cocktail spot. Speakeasies were popping up, craft cocktails. And it was being recognized, the bar scene in Houston around that time. And by Condé Nast, they were naming our bars some of the best bars in the country. My friends were like, let's check these places out. So by the time I could legally drink, I was definitely in some of the best bars Houston has to offer. And I enjoyed the spots the most that would talk to you about what you loved and the flavor tones that you wanted, and then would introduce you to new things. And that kind of became the way that I learned about cocktails. It wasn't at home, but it was at a young age. Relatively young, right out of college or still in college my last year. And it's something I just grew to love more and more.
You were never involved in bartending, were you, by any chance?
Never.
No. But
not even informally at parties. I always like to be served my drinks.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I'll put that down on my list.
Yes.
I've been going to Houston for many years. Since 1977, I've been traveling to Houston, and that lasted until around 1993, on and off. So I saw how dramatic the restaurant scene became, starting probably in the mid 80s or early 90s or so. And it's just a wonderful place to eat and drink and have a great time.
Yeah,
it's a fun town.
Yeah, and it's very diverse. We'll go down to Chinatown or Asia Town, and we tried a soju that was tapped straight into a watermelon, and then you'll go to a British pub and you'll have classic drinks there, and then you'll go to a speakeasy and try more experimental drinks, more gastronomically inspired ones. I love the diversity in the city. I think it's reflected through its food and drink, and it makes it really fun to explore.
It's been a very long time since I've been to Houston, but every time we interview guests who are from different parts of the country, we always say, that's where we're going to go next. That's where we're going to go next. And Houston really needs to be one of those places that we go to next. And what's cool is that, as Dad was saying earlier, your studies took you to Rice University for undergrad. You went to Vanderbilt University in Nashville for your law degree. And I want to talk a little bit about sort of what drew you to law, what had you go in that path, because I did see a clip of you where I think you were on one of your matches, one of your dates, and I think he was a lawyer, and then he said that he loves it, and then you said something to the effect of, really? So I'm curious about that, kind of the dichotomy or the give and take between career and what you really at your core want to be doing.
Well, thankfully, I'm doing what I'm doing right now and loving it. And that is not law. I call myself a recovering attorney. I definitely, I moved here as a kid. So a lot of my friends were born and brought up here, and their parents were the immigrant, but I was the immigrant. And I think I took on a lot of those immigrant mentalities, which is be a lawyer, doctor, engineer, have a stable career, like stay in the same job your whole life. That was aspirational for the immigrant community above me, and became aspirational for me, even though a lot of my peers were going off to be architects or bakers or all kinds of creative things. I just never allowed myself that option, and I probably should have. I would have saved myself about 10 years of practicing law and 3 years of law school. But yeah, I did it for as long as I could do it, which was 10 years. And then I gave it up in October of 2020 as a sabbatical to try it out. I think that's the safe way that I could wrap my head around leaving the law. And I've never looked back. So since October of 2020, I'm still here.
And thanks to all of your traveling, because you did study abroad as a student, I believe. Correct?
Yes, 3 times.
Yeah.
Wow. Where did you go?
My first time I studied abroad, I went around the world in a cruise ship. So I did 10 countries in 100 days.
Whoa.
Circumnavigating the globe with 700 other American kids. It's a crazy experience. It's a beautiful experience. And they actually work really hard to make an itinerary that's kind of places that Americans don't normally traverse. So places they might not pick by themselves. So we went to places like Myanmar, Burma, Vietnam, China, Japan, South Africa. I thought it was a beautiful way to see the world, especially at that age when you're so impressionable. I was about 20.
That's incredible. I mean, most people don't live long enough to see all of these places.
And I saw them in a short 100 days. And there's something beautiful, too, about every week being in a different country. You see the connectivity of humanity. I know that sounds cheesy, but it's crazy to see all these countries and then to see how similar human beings are in their family structures and their desires and the things they want for their future, the things that they're struggling with. It was such a beautiful experience to see it as one collective memory instead of, the way we travel now. We go on vacation for a week, we come home. 6 months later, we go on vacation for a week and we come home.
Right.
This was just a totally different experience and kind of ignited that passion I have for traveling. So I tried study abroad one more time after that, and I went to Italy. I think my roommates were absolutely horrified by me because I was like, I'm bored here. When are we going to Burma next week?
Yeah.
That's not how study abroad Florence works. And I was like, well, study abroad Florence has a lot lacking. And then in law school, we had the opportunity to study abroad. And the only program Vanderbilt had was also Italy. So within a year,
even more bored.
Even more. It turns out it's a beautiful country.
Happens to be beautiful.
It's stunning. I just had to move my mentality in my head of the pace. Italy living is beautiful and slow and luxurious, and studying on a ship is not beautiful and not slow and not luxurious. It's tough and gritty.
Yeah.
So I just had to shift my mindset to really appreciate where I was, and didn't take more than a few weeks.
Boy, I remember studying abroad because I studied abroad. I went to school for theater, and they had what was called the Shakespeare program with the British American Drama Academy in London.
Yes.
And so I did that, and we would take these weekend trips, my friends and I, and we did Italy for about a week. And I remember in Florence, and stop me if you've been to this one, if you've been to this place, there was a club. I mean, there are a lot of clubs, and they're super Euro trash. It's like what you think of as Euro trash, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so there was this one club I remember going to, and it was just the cheesiest of cheesy clubs. And we had to walk a long time. I remember it was on the outskirts of town, and it was in this dark neighborhood, and it was just an experience.
I feel like that is the European study abroad experience, finding yourself in sticky floored clubs with lots of neon lights. And you're like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be fun, drinking Red Bull vodka. That was the 2000s anyway. So
yeah.
Well, when I was studying abroad in Paris, I tried to find myself in 3-star Michelin Guide restaurants as much as possible, which I succeeded in doing quite often.
That is very uncommon. But Dad, you also tried to find yourself a wife when you studied abroad.
No, I didn't. I tried to find a girlfriend.
Okay.
But I ended up finding
You
a
ended
wife.
up finding a wife.
Yeah.
My mom.
Really? While they were studying abroad?
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
She wasn't.
she's from Paris, and she was studying at the Sorbonne at the same time I was. We found ourselves in the library of the Sorbonne at the same time, at the same table, one of these long communal tables.
Mhm.
And she struck up a conversation with me.
Oh, she did. Okay.
She did, because she looked at me and saw my long hair and beard and
He was like
said, "Oh,
typical American, hippie guy. You could,
he must be an American,"
yeah.
she said.
Must
So-
be.
So that was fun. But all of your very extensive travel experiences equipped you very well to create a luxury travel business called My Golden Balloon,
Sure did.
which sounds very exciting.
It is. It's a great concept. I obviously love it. I started it, but I started it at a very inopportune time. So the concept is, in the U.S. anyway, one of the traditions we have is when someone turns 40, we give them a black balloon and we say they're over the hill and, things are going downhill from now on. And I just don't believe that. I think your 30s and 40s are a time to explore. There are golden opportunities. So we believe in that golden balloon, where this is a moment in your life to see things. One of the moments when I traveled that struck me the most was I went to Egypt maybe 4 or 5 years ago with a friend. She's a surgeon. I was a lawyer. We only had 5 days. So on a Wednesday evening, we left, and on a Monday morning, we came back, and we did Luxor and Cairo. And I remember us just sprinting up the stairs of that first temple that we went to, and there were maybe 120 stairs, and we had just landed the night before. We were like, we're free from work for 3 days, and we're going to see Egypt in the next 5 days. We're going to see the whole country, and we're laughing and we're running, and we turn around and we notice that everyone else on the stairs has oxygen tanks or is taking breaths, and there are older Americans. And I thought, I don't want to work my whole life to dream of Egypt and then come to Egypt when I need to rest every 3 steps and take my oxygen tank up to the Queen's Temple. I was proud of them. Obviously, they've worked a lifetime to get there, and they were excited to be there. But I just thought, what a blessing to have youth on my side while I explore the world. Let's keep going. And so my golden balloon was kind of born out of that concept that we can take shorter trips. We can make them easier for us. And so what the company does is allow people in their 30s and 40s to join one of our organized tours, which is my dream itinerary for a 7-day trip. And all they have to do is pack their bags. The minute they land in that country, we take care of their 5-star hotels, their unique experiences, their private transportation. We are there to guide them through each day so that they can just enjoy the place and all the magic and wonder of that place without all the planning before it. Now, like I said, it was problematic when we started it. The first trip we took was in Feb of 2020. And we had heard about this, this kind of flu-like thing, this virus or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. We were like, oh, it won't ever touch us. And we were in Jordan, in Petra. By the time we got back to the States, the lockdown was imminent. All of our sold out trips for that year were canceled. And since then, we've struggled, to say it politely, to really get these trips off the ground. Every time I plan one and sell it out, that country inevitably goes into some sort of surge and then a lockdown, and then refunding everyone's money. So while I love the company, I think it's going to be on hold for a short moment longer. And potentially it might never get off the ground. And I'm also okay with that. A part of what I speak about is normalizing the things that we start that we don't finish for either our own reasons or reasons we can't control, like, worldwide pandemics, and saying that that's okay. We try, we fail, we start some new project, get passionate about that, and potentially try and succeed there.
Yeah, you're the quintessential entrepreneur, I would say, because you also create T-shirts.
I did.
And jewelry.
Yeah, that was more of a tongue-in-cheek response to the show when it came out. Those sold like hotcakes for the first 2 months, and now I forgot they were even up on the website. We get one order or something. Thank you. I'm going to take those down soon. But yes, my friends thought it would be funny after the show came out to just sell T-shirts. People were like, "Do you have a shirt of all the things that you said?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Well, someone else is going to make it, or you can make it." And I was like, "I'll make my own T-shirts. Thank you very much." And so my merch is just host of slogans and mottos and Aparna-isms across your chest.
Ooh, Aparna-isms.
And I want to talk a bit more about Aparna-isms in a second, but we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Dad, you sure do have a zest for life.
You know, John, my zest for life depends on which country I'm in.
Oh, do tell.
Well, since 1887, Mionetto has inspired an Italian zest for life, and I'm feeling that zest as we speak.
That is very interesting. It does have an elegant, fruity, and refreshing flavor.
Mionetto Prosecco actually turns moments big and small into moments that truly matter.
Dad, it's the moments with you that truly matter.
Oh, John, I'm tearing up. Really, so let's make a drink. Let's bring Italy to us this summer with the 3, 2, 1 spritz.
Sounds good. Cheers, Dad.
Cheers.
And now we're back. We're going to talk about what you just said before, Aparna, Aparna-isms. What is an Aparna-ism?
I would say it's a phrase or an idea that became a meme quickly after Indian Matchmaking came out. I have never seen more memes with my face on them in my life.
What is that? Sure. I mean, how your mind must blow, like your mind is blown every time you see it and you see that it goes viral. It's nuts, right?
It's nuts. It's also not something I was ever involved in before. I was never a person to like share memes with my friends. But now I can go to the GIF keyboard and text my responses to my friends, or sometimes my own GIFs and faces. And I think sometimes just to mess with people, I'll only respond in my own GIFs. I think it's just humorous. I mean, it was a pandemic. We were all in a lockdown. People were going wild with boredom, and creativity was springing in all kinds of unusual ways. And I think at that moment in time, it was memes and shareable things on the internet, so that we could connect with each other. And that included Aparna and Aparna-isms.
Words of wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the show, Indian Matchmaking, when did that come about and how did that come about?
For me, in my world, it came about in 2018 when I applied to the show on a whim. I didn't think much of it. Applied while I was standing to board a flight for 5 minutes. It came up on my social media. A friend of mine's sister was the casting director at the time, and she said, "Are you single? Are you South Asian? Are you looking to get married? If so, apply to my sister's new show where she's the casting director." And I literally submitted an application, boarded the flight, turned my phone off. On the other side, got an email, "We'd love to interview you." So I always caution people, you think you're making a really quick 5-minute decision, it could change your whole life as you know it. So yeah, that kicked off, a 6-month casting process, then a taping process for another 9 months. So we finished taping in December of 2019, and the show came out in July of 2020. It takes about 7 or 8 months for a show to come out. And we didn't know it, but that would be, the height of the start of the pandemic, about 3 months in. And most people would be at home around the world. Most people would be consuming whatever Netflix was throwing their way, from Tiger King to Love is Blind to Indian Matchmaking. And the wild ride kicked off from there.
Did you think? I wonder if we have the same. We were about to say the same thing, Dad. I wonder if it is the same thing. Did you think that you had relationship issues beforehand that needed any kind of a boost, or that or any of that?
Well, I write about it in my book. It was a lifeboat analogy for me. I was drowning in dating apps and in the singles table at weddings, and I was just over it. I was just over it. And I thought, well, what a cool opportunity to get this alleged worldwide matchmaker to come in and save the day. I mean, that would be so fitting for my life that I couldn't find my own person, but that some docuseries, or so I thought at the time, a docuseries, would swoop in with a matchmaker and find me the unicorn partner I've always been looking for.
And as far as docuseries, so it was billed as a docuseries, but it kind of morphed into more reality drama kind of a thing, right?
In my opinion, yes. I was told this was a docuseries, which for me is just a documentary that's split up and serialized. hence docu-series, a serialized documentary. And that's kind of an interesting form of presenting information, right? It's very big on nuances and the complexity of people. It follows their story accurately in some sense, even if it edits it. Whereas a reality show is more focused on creating narrative arcs that may or may not reflect the truth or accuracy in any way. That's how I define the difference between the two. And I would say that I signed up for a docuseries. What I would later watch on television was definitely not a docuseries.
Did you know that it was going to be on Netflix?
I knew it was going to be on Netflix, but I had assumed, along with most of us, I think, that were involved in it, that it would air in maybe America, maybe India, maybe Canada. I mean, I remember telling my family in London the week or 10 days before it came out, like, I'm going to have to figure out a way to like tape it for you or screen grab like the whole show. Cause like you can't like screenshot Netflix, the screen turns black. And then about 6 days prior, I got a phone call from a producer being like, oh, we just got word that this is going global. I was like, what does that mean? They were like, well, Netflix airs in 43 countries or something. They're like, next week, this will air in all 143 countries. Wow. So I was like, what? Wow. I was like, well, it's still a really boring show, so I don't think anyone's going to watch it. Not concerned.
And then,
not so boring when the editors get to it, right?
No, actually quite riveting. They somehow took 7 singles who did not find love with an unsuccessful matchmaker and made it a great, great, gripping show. I'm not sure how they did it still, but they did it.
Was there any success?
0% success rate. Worldwide matchmaker, famous, huh? I don't know, allegedly.
And wait a second, and is the same one back again?
Newspapers have announced a season 2 and 3 of Indian matchmaking, as well as I think a few days ago they announced season 3 along with something called Jewish matchmaking.
Ooh.
So there's now a spin-off that will be taping in Israel and America with a Jewish matchmaker or a rabbi or whoever matchmakes in that community. So yeah, the franchise is growing. Seema Auntie is back for season 2 and 3, according to the newspaper articles I've read or the online outlets. And season 2 of Indian Matchmaking is announced to be airing sometime this year. It'll air in 2022.
Wow. Well, that's exciting. Yes?
Yeah.
Is it exciting?
Yeah,
it's exciting.
I'm excited to watch a season 2. I think it'll be a cool opportunity. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it continues. And
have you done book tours for She's Unlikable and Other Lies That Bring Women Down?
Yes, actually today is the book's birthday in India. It came out in India today.
Nice.
Yeah, and it came out in
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay. Book birthdays are fun days. They're pub days. And then it came out in America on March 22nd and in Canada the same day. So I've been on a book tour since the 21st, the day before the book came out. And I'm winding it up this week and heading to India in a few days. I'll be gone for 3 weeks to do my book tour there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I come back and do another week of book tour events in mid-May in New York. So it is a busy, busy nomadic lifestyle right now. But I love promoting this book and meeting people who have read it and connect to it. I think it's such an awesome part of the book tour.
And you're very much into trying to educate women, are you not, as much as possible about their worth in the workplace and in life in general?
Yeah, that's the hope. So I wrote this memoir in response to the tens of thousands of DMs I got after Indian Matchmaking first came out. A lot of it was women who were asking, loved you on the show, all these wonderful things, kind things, but how did you become this way? And I realized that they're right. The show does not explain anything about who I am or what I am or where I grew up or any of the experiences that shaped me into the person I am. Or to be fair, any of my castmates, none of them have any backstory either. That was not the point of the show. The point of the show was to catch us in a moment in time. That moment was us being single and working with a matchmaker. So my memoir is in response to them. It's all of my life moments that shaped me, that brought me to my knees, with grief and loss and betrayal, but then also lifted me and taught me resilience and fortitude. I think it's not only my story, I hope it's an opportunity in me telling my story for others, mostly women, I assume, who will read this book, to reflect on their own life. Their loss might look different than my loss, but we have all, as human beings, experienced loss. And who are we when we pick ourselves up from that loss? And who do we become? And what are our opportunities around those moments? And so in answering their questions and in sharing my life, I hope it also gives all the readers an opportunity to reflect on their own life and to, shape their own story and reclaim their own narrative.
That's amazing. And that's so great that you're on the tour, and that today's the pub birthday of the book in India. And I wanted to I want to thank Pam Wisnitzer, who introduced us. She's our mutual friend, and she's a member of the Cocktail Guru team. And I don't even think I got the story. How do you know Pam?
Pam watched the show along with the rest of the world and DM'd me and said, "Hey, Aparna, I really liked you on this show. And I think you're a strong woman. I'm a strong woman. Here are the things I thought they wronged you in your edit by." And we just started a DM friendship. I ended up moving to New York, and she was pivotal in helping me settle in a crazy new city for me. And we just became real life friends from internet friends. I think that's the way a lot of friendships start nowadays in the social media world. So I am very lucky to have gotten to know her both online and then in real life.
Yeah, I can tell just in this short time speaking with you that you guys have a similar personality.
Yes,
like very much
definitely.
so. You get down to business. You're very strong. You're so likable, and you make great friends and probably really great drinking partners.
Yes.
We appreciate that you're able to take the time out and be on our little podcast. And obviously, best of luck with everything and anything. And hopefully we'll be able to connect and share a cocktail in New York City together.
Well, the four of us should get together at a bar in New York.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you guys know the perfect bars. I'm going to trust you. Or
yes,
Pam.
we do. Yes, we do.
Pam. Hey, we'll trust Pam because she's more in the scene than we are, really.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you, Aparna.
Thank you. Thank you today. It was so much fun to chat with you guys. And now I'm dreaming of island living with spicy marg. So you left me with that.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Aparna Shewakramani, thank you very, very much for joining us today.
Cheers.
That does it for today's show. If you enjoy what we do, please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. You can also support the show with a small monthly donation to help sustain future episodes. Just click on the donate button at the top of our website and choose your donation amount. To learn more about future guests, visit www.thecocktailgurupodcast.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram.
The Cocktail Guru podcast is produced by First Reel Entertainment and distributed by EatsDrinksTV, a service of the Center for Culinary Culture, home of the Cocktail Collection, and is available via Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, and wherever you listen to your favorite shows.